Hey, this is Elohiym's Treatment Center, and today I was inspired by my sponsee, and he brought a situation to my mind, and it gave me an idea. So, to you, my sponsee. Okay, I won't betray your name because that's not fair because people know me, may know you, and that's confidentiality. So, to you, my brother, my friend, my pal, my confidant. Um, this is all dedicated to you because I love you and I want to see you succeed. So, each and every person out there, what exactly is Pastor Kent going to talk about today? Well, I looked up a couple of things on I'm sorry. How many of us use that word properly? Probably not a lot of us. And he brought it to my attention, and he's got a point. He really does. So, this is what I'm sorry means. Okay, this is the dictionary meaning of I'm sorry. It's a feeling, a regret, a compilation, a sympathy or pity for something you did to a friend, a family, or something. Um, Second is regrettable, durable, unfortunate, or tragic. Sometimes when you have, a huge boo boo, a huge mistake, you know, we're not going to say I'm sorry. You know, so I'm sorry is really and truly for the little things. He made a good, valid point of what he's saying. To a friend, to a family member, I'm sorry is okay. So, you know, I get that. But when you're talking to um, a person of that you've harmed, I'm talking here step 8 and 9. Um, I'm sorry may not just cut it. So you should say what you should say is I'm sorry because I did, and go into detail. It's logical. Okay, and then we have the final one. There's three. Friends and family are the first ones, and second is like your boss or somebody that you actually care about, like your significant other, your partner. Okay, and then there's sorrow, grieved, or sad. Um, Sometimes when somebody says, I'm sorry for your loss, it's kind of salt in the wound, okay? So it's kind of like, yeah, you care, but you really don't because you're not saying anything. Um, we should add with that, I feel sympathy, I'm sorry for your loss, you'll see him in heaven, you'll see him again, you'll see her again. We should add it with something else because, you know, let's say they lose their partner or their mom and dad, okay? Um, let's not even talk about aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them, okay? It hurts when you lose a loved one. It really does, okay? So we need to show empathy, and empathy is different than I'm sorry. So, empathy is actually feeling how the person felt. So when we say I'm sorry, there has to be a meaning behind it. And if the person's not getting the meaning, then you have to explain that. Okay? But in order to understand that, you must understand the person. In order to understand what you need to do it right. That's just, my own version of it. So, you know, all right. I'm sorry. Heard that one or 1,000 times. Said that sentence before. I would bet you have said that many times during your life. I have never said that. Then you either really or wholly, or you need to get checked and check yourself into an institution, um, because everybody said it. On the other hand, you have said it enough. Either the way or any of those questions. Do you really know what you are saying by the way this is may or like a non-brainer but stuck up with me? Well, so, alright, to start, it needs to be understood why people say or really use the word. Okay? People say this for plain reason, trying to apologize for what they've done. This sentence is used to try and make things better for the person offended, to put it in reality short. It is said to try and make things right after an offense. Well, sometimes it's just not enough, as I said. You know? Now that we understand the reason, the true meaning of the significance can now be explained. With one attempt or correct things verbal, one should also be trying to say something else. I wish I had never done that to begin with. Really? What you're saying is that it's being a selfish brat and you're only trying to make yourself feel better. This is much more important to express. The reason being that you truly mean what you are saying. You're sadly starting that you have intimidated Christ's message. Of love. See, I'm sorry is a very important thing, but you have to use it in the right context. So, you know, but now the blog has been on human and human offenses that we apologize. There is one person that we offend more often, personality, than the other faults against humanity combined, God Himself, namely our Messiah. This is the reason why He gave us the sacrament of confession, to tell God that we are sorry for our sins. Although this is an outward act, our Messiah called the conversation to practice. Like the prophets before him, does not aim first at the outward works, sackcloth and ashes, fasting and moderation, but the conversation of heart, inner conversion. Without this, such penance remains sterile and false. However, inner conversation uses expression, its verbal signs, gestures, and works patient. This, my brothers and sisters, is where we find how and when to say sorry. and to do it in the right context. You know, when my sponsee did that video, and I think you should actually check it out, because um, I think it has merit. I really do. Um, I really think it has merit, and you know, he has good points in what he does, um, and I'm going to include it in this. Um, this uh, video because I think it should be included because there's two versions to every story. There's your version, my version, and then there's in between where there's the truth. Because if you do this scenario, okay, sit in a crowd of people, okay, sit in a round circle. I'm serious. It happens. It really does. And we do this. Um, don't say anything. Don't say nothing, okay, to anybody. Don't talk to them. Just look at the person next to you, lean over, and say to them something. Make up something. I don't care. And watch what happens. By the time it gets around the room, okay, uh, it's all garbly goop, you know? It's all messed up, you know? It really is. Because as humans, we mess things up. We really do. Um, Sorry, I'm just typing something. I'm trying to get things together because, you know, um, you know, when we do something, we want to do it right, right? So we have to make sure that we got all the facts down, right? So so now we're going to look at something else. Um, and exactly what do we mean when we say, I'm sorry? But it's as I said in the start of this. Um, you have to really understand where a person comes from and what they're all about. So, when you say you're sorry to somebody, you need to make sure that they are on the same page as you. Because if you don't, okay, you're going to end up with ill feelings. So, how do we make sure that we're on the same page? Well, I found another. Uh, I found another one. Uh, and what exactly do we mean when I say I'm sorry? Or it can be an apology. Oops, I didn't mean that. And you see, this is what my sponsee was getting at. Okay? So, when we do that, we have to understand it's a regret. Should haven't done that. An excuse, an expression of empathy. Suffering a situation, don't pretend to have a way to fix it. It is so. It's just to be present with you. See, you have to understand um, when we say things, they can be taken two ways: the good way, the bad way. So you have to clarify that. So I suggest, and because of my sponsee, who has taught me a lot over the amount of time that we've been together, okay, um, that sometimes I need to rethink what I'm doing. But, you know, you have to be understanding. But when the apologize is appropriate, you should keep the following in mind to make it effective. So here's how to apologize the right way. And this is what my sponsee was trying to get at. So I get what you're saying, my brother. I really do. Okay? You were very close to what you were trying to say, but you didn't quite know how to say it. Well, this is where we go. Okay? Look exclusively and apologize, not to overcome denial or impulse to excuse or justify your behavior or actions, but apologize because it's the right thing to do and you mean it. So, be genuine. Don't give a half-hearted apology or that is not genuine. It smacks of self-interest and will fan the fans that of conflict. So, demonstrate and understand of the harm. The greater degree of empathy, the victim of harm, the more potent the apology. Further, your behavior and actions need to change to show you truly see what you have done and really are sorry. Express your remorse, regret, or understanding in the I'm sorry. It is essential to complement of the apology. What you're doing is asking to be pardoned. When you have done something wrong and acknowledge regret in the rare situations when you wish you hadn't have done what you did. Something definitely, and when you are genuine, feel pain and suffering for the situation that you have created. So, what my partner in ministry and sponsee is trying to say, and I'm trying to say this in a nice way, stop saying I'm sorry and not mean it. If you do mean it, change your conduct so that it is seen as being believable. Do not agree or disagree. So, when you look at a person and say, I'm sorry, you know, we all do it. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I get what my sponsee's saying. What are you sorry for? You know? So add this to it, okay? I'm from old school, so I say I'm sorry, but I know the real reason behind it. But not everybody thinks like that. So I get what you're saying, my brother. I really do. And I apologize for not taking the time and understanding you and not trying to relate to what you were trying to say without getting upset and getting my dander and my feathers ruffled. So I love you like a brother and I respect what you do. And I will include your video in this message. And I do apologize to you. And I am sorry if I upset you or offended you in any way. God bless you and take care.